Into Conversations with Dee. I am starting my second season, and who I have is Mr. Little Pie McElveen. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for
You're
having me here.
welcome. You're
Thank you
welcome.
for
Thank you
having
for
me here.
coming.
I'm I'm
So,
I'm always honored, and humble when people allow me to, come on their platform and share my story because I feel like, this is all new to me, and just for you to even, accept me here is just an honor. But I thank you
you're welcome, most definitely. So, how did your journey start?
though. Which journey are you talking about?
I mean, so you're
you
an
know,
author, you're a mentor, you're an educator, you're a public speaker, so all of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, my journey just started basically, through life in general, first day, in existence. That's when everyone's journey starts. And we just kind of navigate through life and kind of create these paths, in hopes that we can be a positive influence or make a positive impact on someone's life. So sometimes we're even going through things that we don't like to go through or that's not comfortable for us, not knowing that we're being set up to assist someone else to help them get through, their particular uh, journeys or their personal situations or their downfalls in life. Because of one thing I do know is that not everyone is built to climb out of it, without having that extra support or that person to say, oh, they went through that too. So maybe I can win if I just, follow these same steps and, move on. So that's how my journey ultimately began. In terms of being an author, that was just from my own personal experience going through the divorce, and that story alone just stuck with me and resonated with me enough to want to share from a man's perspective on how we have to tackle the whole divorce thing as well, because we often hear the ladies side of the story, and then for men it's never positive, when you hear about how the men went through the situation or what they did in the process. So I wanted to share, man, that not all of us guys, man, just leave the homes and neglect the kids and just want to be gone. So that wasn't the case at all. So years later, after I got comfortable enough, I just felt like it was something that needed to be shared with so many other people.
And you mentioned something that's like really, I mean, like the key right there, the point. When people go through a divorce, so my parents got divorced. It was final when I was in the fourth grade. So I I seen firsthand from my mother like what she experienced. It's a long story, and I'm not bashing anybody. My parents. I have a pretty good relationship with my parents, but at the end of the day, I definitely get it. The guy is sometimes put in a negative light, and sometimes he's not the bad guy, and sometimes the woman is put in a bad light too. And sometimes she ain't the bad guy. And then the kids ultimately they suffer because of the whole tribes and the different nuances that go into it. Like people are mad, bitter, all kinds of bittersweet feelings. And you know, it's really interesting to hear different stories or whatnot. So I think that's a great title for it, the transition, my journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but then even even with so many things that go on in a breakup, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes we get so caught up in our own emotions that we forget about the important components in that whole thing, right? So, like you say, um, you've seen so many things happen when your parents, divorced. I consciously made sure that I did not, under any circumstances, say anything negative about my ex-wife, you know what I mean, around or to my children. Like that was just a conscious decision because at the end of the day, one thing about kids is they grow up, right? So they see how everything plays out.
Mhm.
So at some point in life, they have to be the one that make their own personal decisions. So you don't want to, I personally anyway, didn't want to try to influence them one way or another, because here's the deal. Your mother and I may not get along, you know, however, that's still your mother. So you're still going to respect her regardless of what's going on between her and I. And I'm still your dad, and you're still going to respect me regardless of what's going on. So, I mean, my thing is, you never want to put that type of energy into your kids, man, because you put them in a compromising position, and it's not cool. It's never cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I applaud my mother and my grandmother for that, because they never said anything negative about my father around me. And I believe, like, when I got a certain age and whatnot, that's when I figured out a lot of stuff or whatnot. And at the end of the day, things happen and they work out for the best or whatnot. I mean, me and my father, we got back cool or whatnot many years ago, and that's not to bash him or anything. Things, he apologized to me, and I forgave him many moons ago, because forgiveness is something that starts with ourselves. It's for us. And so at the end of the day, I forgave him. It was no issue whatsoever, and I thank him for explaining that to me, because it allowed me as an adult, as a young woman, to understand things, and to also help me and guide me through different relationships. Because when you don't have that with your father as a female, you might navigate into relationships that you shouldn't be going into. And so I thank my father for that, because I got an opportunity to hear that. So you speak on some very important things that I think a lot of people, they don't get. They're bashing
I
the
mean,
people and
yeah,
everything.
but here's the deal, right? Like I often say, man, like it's divorce is just a tough situation. You know what I mean? Like it's devastating. Like it creates a pain. Like you know what I mean? Like none other. I often say it's the death of marriage. It's so tough because
Mhm.
even physical death has a finality to it, right? So you have these situations where you have to really, man, listen. It's some dark days, right? And you have to really navigate through this whole entire process. So to bring that extra energy that don't need to be in the equation, it makes it tougher for the transition, right? So now you have your kids who are first of all, the adults made the decision to break apart, right? So now this decision was forced upon the kids.
Mhm.
So why would you want to cause any more trauma than what you already put them through by making this selfish decision to begin with? So the last thing I wanted to do was,
Mhm. Mhm.
I made a promise to my kids that I will always be there for you and with you, right? We're not going to make this a relationship where I only see you on birthdays, holidays, or, vacation. That we're not doing that. That's not what it was prior to the divorce. So that it will never be. So I just wanted to assure them, A, it wasn't your fault, right? And B, I'm not going anywhere. Just to try to give them some sense of, security that, okay, we're going to be all right. So even though they still pain, it hurt, and, they had to see the whole separation, happen. What I consciously did, though, was when I got myself together after I moved out. I kind of moved probably a block away from where they live, and I did it so that they can still have that experience of coming home from school, still seeing daddy, still
Mhm.
seeing
Mhm.
mommy. So they had those options. Daddy's only a block away. We could still go hang out with dad, or we could stay the night and leave dad's house and go to school, So you can see me, you could still see me every day. So
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
why I made that particular decision, just so that they can have that sense of familiarity with saying, you know what, hey, I'm gonna still see dude. Like that's just what it is. Like he's not running from us. He's not pushing us off. So yeah, I mean, I made some conscious decisions, man, to make sure that I put my kids first. You know what I mean, over my particular feelings and what I was feeling during the whole process.
And that's awesome to know that, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, you see some Jerry Springer type, Ricky Lake type, Jenny Jones type stuff. And I'm like, it doesn't even have to get that far. And it's just pettiness. Like, it really is like, oh, well, you know what? You're not going over there because I don't like the girlfriend. And I'm like, oh, no, this is what people will say. And,
Yeah.
oh, you're not going over there because I don't like the boyfriend. And I don't, she thinks she cute. He think he all that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like, wow, that's a mess.
And I'm not a drama. Like I
Yeah.
don't like. Not only don't I like drama, I really don't like altercations. Like I'm not like, people don't believe me, but people that know me understand. Like, I'm really like, anytime there's a situation where I'm like, I like to, like, remove myself from the situation, because it's like, it's so unnecessary from time. It's so unnecessary. And like you say, they turn it into this whole big free for all. So here's the deal, right? So you do get that situation. And I do understand, because I've been around people who has, oh, they're not going over there because of that. And I do have, kids that are outside my marriage from, prior to being married. So I face those things as well, where, oh, he's not coming to your house. I've been through that. So my thing was, I did everything necessary to avoid those particular situations. Even dating, like, I would not date, because I felt like my main focus was making sure my kids got through this divorce process. So I just, everything, I'm being totally, and everything was about them. For me, everything was about them, their comfort level, them being good with the way things were going. So nothing was about me. So I just kind of threw my personal feelings out of the window, because as a dad, you want to make sure your kids are good. So, and I often tell men, man, like, they get caught up with the, oh, well, she's going to date this guy. And listen, at the end of the day, those are your kids. Those are your responsibilities. Those are your pumps. You did all that, right? So here's what we do, right? We still got to be man enough to take care. So even if we divorce the wife, we can't divorce the kids.
That's true.
The kids are dealing with enough trauma. You want to put them through extra trauma because of your personal feelings about, you think she shouldn't date this dude, or you don't want your kid. My thing is, I didn't care who she dated, as long as they love, respect, and took care of my kids, right?
Amen.
Now, if you do anything to harm them in any way, emotionally, physically, mentally, now you have to deal with me. As much as I don't like confrontation, when it comes down to my babies, I have no problem. Like, I don't like confrontation, but there's no hesitation when you start messing with them. And then the guy in me really comes out. But yeah, I mean, my thing is, yeah, why? So yeah, I really didn't want to get into the, oh, they can't be around him, or and they got old enough to the point where they felt like that situation, whether a situation was comfortable for them or not, where they can discuss it. And I always have this open conversation with my kids, so that if they're not comfortable with something, come see me, let me know. You can talk to me, like, and it's not a problem. And we have these conversations without me judging you, or without me intimidating you, or making you feel like you can't talk to me in any way, shape, or form. Like, I never want to be that to my kids, because, man, life is tough on us as adults. So just imagine teenagers going into young adulthood. Like, it's really tough on them. So you don't want to be an enemy along with the rest of the enemies that's already facing, like, they're already going to face in life as they become adults and go out on their own.
And that's true. Like, I'm just fortunate that I was blessed. I had my grandmother. She's since passed on, but I had her in my life, and I had positive and important figures in my life that made sure that, you know what, nothing was going to happen like that. And also, I had a very close relationship with my grandmother, so I told her everything. I was like, Granny, I don't like that person. That person was mean to me. And she would always be my advocate and advocate those things to my mother in a way that she understood it. And so I was very blessed to have that. And I would just say, like, literally, I was fortunate. My grades didn't slip, thank God. Because that's another part of it
Yeah.
that people
Oh
don't see.
yeah.
Those
Yeah.
kids start misbehaving because they want love and attention. They don't get that. And that's why some of these kids are doing that. And people are so often like trying to tell people stuff, but no, if you just listen, you'll hear what you need to hear. Sometimes we don't need to give the answer. The kid knows the answer most of the time, or a person knows the answer. It's just that they want you to listen to them and hear them out. And people don't listen. That's the problem. A lot of people don't do enough
Yeah.
active listening.
No, because we grew up in this society where I'm the parent. What I say go, I don't, you don't have no feel, things like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm connected to my kids in ways that like it's crazy. Like I can call them and they'll be like, "Oh man," because they know when I know like their energy is off, and that's because I'm just that into my kid. Like even my current lady, right? We've been together for some time. Her kids aren't my biological kids, but I have that same connection with them, right? So although I can be the mean guy from time to time, and I can't be that because as a dad, you just want to, because I consider me dad with them as well. So you always want to, well, moms kind of, loose in certain areas. You always want to be the guy. You want to be the enforcer. I often tell my kids, like, I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm cool. I don't need 20-year-old friends. I'm like, I'm past that stage. Like, if I'm hanging out with 20-year-olds, then somebody needs to
Something
come
is
check me.
wrong. Yeah.
So even with her kids, and in the beginning, I used to be like, oh man, but they're not used to this, right? And maybe they won't like me because they'll think I'm mean, or they'll be like, oh, this guy again. However, it's actually like reverse. They like, oh man, when it like we haven't seen him in a while. When is he? So but one thing I learned is that kids understand one key component, and they understand when someone truly loves them and has their best interest at heart. When they feel that connection, none of that other stuff even matter, man. Like you can be the crazy guy. You can, you can be like, oh, pick that up. Or why are you doing this? You can be that guy because they're like, wow. It's like they love they love structure, right? And B, they just love to have that connection with someone that they feel like he's on my side, right? I'm a part of him. I'm a part of him and his heart, and he truly loves me in a way that, like, only you can, you can want to be loved as a kid growing up into young adulthood. So yeah, it's man, it's challenging, and not all the time you lay down, man, and you think you're doing the right thing. You don't know, man, and then every once in a while, just that little conversation, or that little text message, or that little, my ladies' kids from time to time, they'll call me, I miss you, I love you, and these are like 16, 17, and I get that. Same thing with my kids. In the book, I actually took a picture of a text message one of my sons sent me when he was in college, right? And this is one of the dudes, man, that when his mother and I separated, I thought I was going to like really do some time in prison behind this guy. Like he was just, and even with me being around, he was still at this point, man, where he was just like crazy, crazy. So I'm like, yo, what's going on with this dude? Like, seriously, what's going on? But he texted me one day, man, and just like pretty much just reassured me that I did all the right things, man. Like, Dad, you're my king. I love you, man. Every decision you ever made on behalf of me, like and I shared that in the book as well, where I also allowed my kids to write an open letter to express how they felt about the situation, just so that people can see, man, like more than anything, that part of it is super important, man. Just making sure that your kids are good, you have your kids back, man, and you still continuously give them that love in spite of the way things turned out between their mother and yourself. So yeah.
Yeah. And that's definitely true. I definitely agree. And then also, it depends on how old the child is at the time that the person gets a divorce, because things are different. Because I know some people and they parents got a divorce like when they're in their 20s, and they are so mad. like they are so resentful. And I said, I look like that's the best expression I gave, because I'm just like, you can feel how you feel, but it's different when you're younger. I can understand a person feeling some kind of way, but when you're older and you're past, you didn't went to college, whatever you went to military, whatever trade school, that's a bit special. That's a special something.
No, people are selfish by nature.
Yeah.
By nature, people are selfish. So what happens is they don't understand. And I'm not the type of guy who will show if we're having a disagreement or if things aren't right. We work that out between us, right? So here's the deal. A lot of kids don't understand it. They have those type of parents that keep everything in, closed house. And conversations happen in the bedroom between the two of them only. So the thing is, if you have those types of parents, they just always think it's all good, right? So y'all been together this long, and I'm 20 now, and now y'all, they get selfish instead of not, and they don't understand that. They're not understanding that, hey, listen, moms and pops been really, trying to string this thing along until you guys became adults, so that, they can be comfortable in some sense. And right now, nobody's thinking that. They just think all that. So yeah, just some people are just selfish.
Yeah, I agree. Like I know some people personally who went through that, and I had to let them know personally, I love you, man. I love you, sis. I love you, bro. But that's selfish. And at the end of the day, your parents have a right to move on and be happy. Yeah. And you're right. They didn't raise you right, and you grew up. You're fine. And you got to stop being, being that way and get over it.
Yeah, I mean, because they already sacrificed so much of their life just to make sure that you still had that family environment, right? I wasn't doing that. That just wasn't going to happen for me. Like, but at the end of the day, like, that doesn't mean that you still have to be selfish enough at that age to be like, yo, well, I want it my way or no way. Because that's what happens, man. These kids become spoiled brats even at 20 and 30 and 40 years old, right? And then they don't expect their parents to want to live. And your parents are 10, 15, 20 years older than you. So they gotta enjoy some of this stuff, man, before they get up out of here. They can't just be miserable all their lives on your behalf. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And then you also have the other situation where sometimes the parents feel like they don't want to have a life. And it's like, you raised me right. It's time for you to have a life, man. Have a life.
Yeah, but you know what that is? You know what that is?
And they become overprotective, or
it's not even that.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like rewind, like to the beginning of the book, as the transition going. So what happens is, a lot of people really don't like themselves, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. So
a lot of people.
So and I say that to say this in a way where, like, people really don't like themselves to the point where you can go through so much trauma, right, in life, in a relationship, that you never take the time to fix yourself, heal yourself, go through that process of complete healing, right? So you jump right back into a new situation because you don't like, you're scared to be alone, like, and have that time to yourself where you can rebuild yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and learn from some of the missteps that you may have taken in a relationship, and become a better you during the process. So not everybody likes to do that. And it's only because, right? And I've had this conversation with people, is because they don't want to relive the pain. But in every healing process, think about this. If you cut yourself, right? It's going to pain while that cut is still fresh. Then it begins to go through periods where, as it's healing, it'll itch a little bit, right? But it'll still hurt some as well. So And then some people, right, they don't like to see that scab forming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they do, they rip it off. And what
Mm-hmm.
happens? You're bleeding again and it hurts
Mm-hmm.
again, right? Because they don't want to continue the necessary process to get it to full healing where the scab forms and the scab eventually falls off itself. Then you may have that little mark there, but it no longer hurts. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what people do with their own personal lives, their own hearts, their own, mental. They gamble it away because they don't want to go through the healing process because they want to avoid reliving that pain. However, you go into a new situation, just creating more pains because now you have that carryover effect where you bring that with you because you never truly heal from it, and it just becomes an ongoing, ongoing cycle where, like, you're stuck. You're stuck, and we have so many damaged adults because of these
Mm-hmm.
cycles, both male and female. We have so many damaged adults because of, and I call them
Hurt
hidden.
people hurt people.
Yeah, but I call them hidden wounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because so many people can get dressed up, smell good, look good, but inside they're hurt. So what happens is if they get into a new situation and their partner says something or
Mm-hmm.
does something that reminds you of a traumatic experience that you have,
Mm-hmm.
it creates those behaviors, it reopens that wound. And now, because you haven't dealt with it fully, here's another process, right? Now you're
Mm-hmm.
ready to escape that situation. Now I got to go find somebody else to do the same thing to me because I'm not going to heal myself totally. I'm gonna just keep jumping, jumping, and jumping, and then like you just hurt forever.
And then some people will take it out. Like they'll say, like, oh, you know what? Because so and so did this to me. And this is just in relationships in general. Because so and so hurt me, you gotta feel that pain. And guess what? You gotta earn this. And I'm just like, so you gotta punish everybody because you mad.
Like, I just learned that some people, right,
Mm-hmm.
because of a certain hurt,
Mm-hmm.
they feel like they have to hurt you back. Like they don't know how
Yeah.
to. They don't know how to talk and get over something. The only thing they know is because whatever hurt they've been through, or you
Mm-hmm.
may have caused them some hurt, right? All they know is to hurt you back. And
Mm-hmm.
I really just learned that. Like I really did not know that, but I learned that. And it's a process, man. It's a
Yep.
process. But again, you have to be willing. You really have to be willing, man, to say, you know what? Let me fix me. Like I really gotta fix me before I could, really, really step into some things, man. Because we're not always all right. We're not always all right. So,
That's true.
we just and listen, we're adults, man, and we've all been through some things. So if we find someone, no one's perfect in
Mm-hmm.
their doings. So we just have to be like, listen, let's take care of each other. So when we get to those, crossroads or cross those paths where, okay, what you just
Mm-hmm.
didn't make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You can't become like, oh man, you can't do all. You have to be like, you have to sit there, like you say, got to be them listening ears, and you got to have compassion toward whoever you're with,
That's
right?
another thing that people do not
So
have right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Is
So
empathy and compassion.
but you
Like,
have to,
yeah, yeah,
so that you can
yeah,
understand that your ways are creating more pain for an
yeah.
individual than they are helping an individual. So you definitely got to have that compassion toward one another, man. And every argument isn't about who's right or who's wrong, man. And everything really isn't an argument. Sometimes people are just trying to make points and
Mm-hmm.
help you see where we are versus where we need to be and what
Mm-hmm.
we need to do as a unit to move past a bunch of things, man,
It's
so
true.
that we can be good moving forward. So
That's true. And it's really sad because like literally, so I teach sociology part-time or whatnot. And so it's so funny, like in the evenings or whatnot, it's hilarious. But so I always tell my students intersectionality. That is real. So a lady by the name of Kimberly Crenshaw Williams, she was a lady that was on the trial for Anita Hill and whatnot. And Clarence Thomas. So anyway, she introduced that, she coined that term, saying that, just because you may have experienced something does not mean that a person could come in and say, oh, well, because they didn't experience it, that it didn't exist. It did happen. You just was fortunate. So you have to have empathy and compassion and say, what's going on with that? I hope everything's getting better with that. And, I'm sorry that happened, and be sincere and genuine about that. And a lot of people don't do that. And it's at the end of the day, we're all interconnected in terms of class, race, gender, and sexuality and all of that. And so just because somebody experienced something, like, I know people say this, oh, well, I went to a white school and I was called smart for a black girl. And so I heard a lot of people have said that to me. So other people, well, they told me that, they experienced that. And I'm like, really? I'm sorry that you dealt with that. And I was like, I never experienced that, but I do know that other people have. And how did you deal with that? And how did you overcome that? It's never like, oh, you just lying. Yeah, right. Because when you say that, you're gaslighting the person. You're making that person relive that type of situation. And even with any situation, it's like, you don't tell people how they should feel. That's what people have to stop doing. Stop telling people how to feel.
Yeah.
That's a problem in the Black community. And it probably is a problem in other communities too. But I'm saying, for me, being a Black woman, I've noticed that is what some of us, we tend to do. Well, you should feel this way. Well, you should do that. And I'm like, that's not your job to tell somebody how they should feel. They have a right to close off access from somebody who's toxic. And they can forgive that person, but not deal with that person. But people try to make you feel bad for that, though.
Well, listen, that's your thing. You can't make me feel bad for my decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're right. Yeah. So I often say, man, people like to be others' heart navigators. Like, you can't navigate my heart. Like, navigate your heart. Like, if you sometimes people be like, oh, guess who's dating such and such? Oh my God, why they with them? Like, instead of saying, oh, that's what's up. They found someone who they can, bond with, create a situation with. That's great for both of them. Everybody's always opinionated about someone else's situation. And then what happens is those opinions start forming in some people's heads. And then they start looking at their own situation differently because of those opinions. And it creates this whole big situation, right? Mm-hmm. And then you end up losing out on what could have possibly been the best thing ever in your life, because you allowed someone to dictate your, heart navigation and who you should like and who you should love. And listen, I mean, everybody been through some things in life. So I can't look at you differently because your journey was different than my journey. We just had two different journeys, but we both been through some things. So you just got to respect that. You have to honor that. And if you're going to get into a relationship with a person at our age, you have to be willing to be patient and kind and help. You know what I mean? And you have to. And that's just the God honest truth. Like, I mean, I didn't date for seriously date for 7 years, because I just didn't feel like it was, A, I wanted to make sure my kids was good, right? B, I didn't want to have that carryover effect. So I didn't feel like it was fair to whomever I was going to get into a relationship with to have to deal with the negative, from the previous relationship. So what I did, right, to help me out with that process was I would go on a little date here or there just to test where my patience were, to see if I was really ready for this, right? And I did. A couple of times I went out. I even young lady that I knew, we actually inboxed each other one day on Facebook. Hadn't seen each other in a while. So she was like, and I was like, hey, let's hang out. She's like, okay, cool. So she said, what are you doing this Friday? I said, nothing. She was like, okay. You want to hang out this Friday? I said, why don't you do this? Come over to my place. We'll my lady is in the chat right now. She's bugging. She loves to hear this particular story.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She loves to. She's telling me to tell the story because, like,
oh, you can see the chat too. I did not know that. Oh wow.
She's telling me to tell this story. She cracks up every time I tell it. Hey, baby. So
I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble.
No. We're far from that. No, she's listen. She was my proofreader for my book, so she's
that's awesome.
She's so supportive of that. She wouldn't be on this interview if that was the case. But no, but she loves this story though. So here's the deal, right? So we linked up. I said, I'll tell you what, come to my house this Friday. We could do we could do movies. I'll probably fix, maybe some hot dogs or some hamburgers or something. Nothing major,
That's classified as Netflix and chill.
Yeah, that's it. And we'll chill. Like, yeah, let's do that. Again, though, because emotionally I wasn't in that space yet. So I just wanted to at least see if I could, be in the same room with someone without, having all these crazy, feelings about something.
So it was a pre-date. It was a pre-date.
Yeah, so we did. So, she came, we set it up. Middle of the winter, I'm a heat guy. I love my heat on high, like without question. So she came, she showed up, she called me, she said, I'm downstairs. I said, all right. Went and opened the door and she walked upstairs into my apartment, right? And when she walked into the apartment, the first thing came out of her mouth was, man, it's hot in here. So I nicely asked her to leave. So, because I felt like, man, you just got in here and you're complaining already. Like, you know what I mean? Not, hey, nice place. I like this apartment, like it's hot in here. It's the middle of January. I mean, hey, I paid my public service bill. It's supposed to be hot in here, right? So I was like, I went the next day, I told my boys about it. I said, yo, man, she came to my house and, and she was complaining about the heat and I kicked her out.
Oh my
God. They was like, yo, they called me Pie. They called me P. They was like, yo, P, man, I think you was a little over the top, man. Like, I think you should call her and apologize to her. And maybe she didn't mean it that way, but you still bugging out. So you was a little over the top with the way you handled the situation. So these are my guys. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Went home that night, hit her up. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? I want to apologize by the way I handled the situation. And so let's catch a movie. I never forget the movie that was out. Why Did I Get Married To?
Oh dang!
Right,
that movie was a mess. It was good, but it was sad because Janet she put her emotions into that because Michael had just
So that was the movie that was out. So in Jersey, we have this movie theater in this city of Clifton, New Jersey, called Clifton Commons. So she said, "You want to come pick me up?" I said, "No. How about you drive and I drive because I knew I had something to do." I said, "So we'll both drive to the theater. I'll meet you there, and we'll get the tickets. I'll get the tickets. We'll get some snacks. We'll go in." So we met at the theater. We got our tickets. So we're on the concession stand line because trailers are always 40 minutes long. So we had time. So we're getting snacks and stuff to go into the theater. See some friends of mine. They come into the movie theater. Mm-hmm. So we're talking, hey, laughing and talking. I want you to meet my friend, introduce my friend to my peoples. And after they moved away, she was like, your friend? I was like, yeah, my friend. Like, what else am I supposed to introduce you as? So this charades went on for just far too long for me anyway. So we get into the theater, we're watching the trailers, and she's still going on about this whole friend introduction thing, right? First of all, how could you ever think you was even more than a friend? I have no idea. I promise you, I have no idea. So my thing was, how could you even think you was more than a friend when I just kicked you out of my apartment for complaining about the heat, right? So this is me apologizing to you. Don't make it bad a second time. So we're in the theater and she's still going about it. I said, all right, it's cool. Again, my lady will tell you this. She's in the chat. I don't do confrontation. I don't like confrontation at all. I like to discuss something and get it over with. But if things are becoming loud and boisterous, like I'll bow out. I don't like confrontation. I don't like the attention. I don't like people raising their voice or any of that. So we're sitting in the theater and I'm sitting there and I'm drinking, my juice and, and she's still going. I was like, I need you to do me a favor. She said, what's that? I said, can you hold this juice for me? I got to run to the bathroom. She's like, okay. And I'm walking to the bathroom and this thing is still playing in my head. Like her just going on and on and on. I'm like, I'm not going to sit through this movie listening to this. So I walked out the theater, got in my car, and I went home. And I just left her there at the theater. And I just never reached out to her again. But I say all that to say this though, right? That was helping me gauge whether or not I had forgiven everything that had happened, right? Mm-hmm. That was me gauging whether I had healed myself totally, right? Mm-hmm. And whether I was ready to move forward and get into a new situation. Those are processes that people just refuse to take. So they don't do these things and they end up coming from toxic, carrying toxic with them, creating more toxic with another toxic individual. And then and we just have these ongoing relationships, man, where they're not working out. So even if people try to stay together, they're not together, and it just becomes a tough cycle to break, So I implore everyone that's going through some sort of breakup, even if not marriage, man, just a long-term relationship, take that time to be with yourself, go through the process, make yourself a better you, so that when you move forward, you're good, you're focused, you're intentional about who you are, and you're not lying to yourself. Because if you're lying to yourself, the person that you're in with, you're definitely lying to them. So I implore everybody, man, to just take care of yourselves, man, mentally, emotionally, physically, because you're all you have. And especially if you have kids, if you're not right for you, how can you be right for them? How can you be right for your mate? So yeah, you have to, man. You just got to do the right things, man. So I learned to be that way, and it taught me a lot of patience. It made me a better person. It made me a better friend, and it made me a better dad though, because it taught me. Because I was one of them dads too who felt like, I paid the bills, so my kids really don't have an opinion. You know what I mean? You're gonna do whatever it is. Whatever I say goes. So that was my thing, and I'm still like that to a certain degree though, because sometimes, man, these kids, they reach a certain age and they just feel like they can express to you in any way now, but we're not doing that, and you're not going to do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it, because if you were able to care for yourself, then you wouldn't need me in certain areas. So we definitely try to make sure we're open-minded and open for discussion, and be able to, man, be, patient enough where we can help somebody, because everybody may not take that same process. So at least I can help you heal while you're with me, versus me saying, oh boy, another, scarred individual. So yeah, it's important. Those things are very, very important.
That is true. So with the whole writing process, I can remember writing my senior thesis for grad school, and I hated that. That was too long or whatnot. So I can only imagine, was that challenging? I mean, was in terms of the process itself? Many don't understand because they may have not written past a certain, level or whatnot. And what did you enjoy the most about the creative process of writing in general?
Well, I'm a writer by nature. I do all the term papers. I do everybody book reports, all the kids, my ladies' kids. I do all the writing. Like that's just who I am. So that I've always been that individual. Like even the family, I write all the poems for the family funerals and stuff like that. So yeah, writing has always been my thing, right? The book, it was a different animal though, because you had to build the chapters. You had to make sure these components went with the chapter title, those components went with the chapter title, and just the process alone was fun for me. I'm weird. I'm kind of weird when it comes to like geeky things, right? Because it's like if something's going to challenge me, I'm all for it. Like I'm going in because I like to see the end result. So I get excited about the process because I always like to see what's going to where it's going to lead me. So when I decided to write it, I checked in with the young my lady, the missus, and I was like, listen, I got this idea. I said, what do you think? She was like, she don't know any better neither. She's like, I think you should go for it. She just thinks like everything I say I can do. Like, but I was like, okay, so I'm gonna do this. So I did. So I really just started with jotting down how I felt about the whole situation, the whole marriage situation, the whole separation situation, the divorce, the raising the kids. And so I just daily just started jotting stuff down. And then after I did that, I kind of came up with a blueprint. And then from there, I wanted to know what other elements I wanted to add to the book, right? So I said, okay, I want to add elements of divorce. Like, you know what I mean? I wanted everybody to see the numbers as far as divorce rates and the type of people that get divorced and how many people after they divorce get right back into a marriage. So I wanted to show all of these elements as well. And I wanted to, just show elements from, so I have where certain doctors shared certain pointers on how people perceive certain things. So I just wanted to kind of bring all this together. And pretty much, man, that's what happened. It kind of all fell together as I started, putting the components together. And I was able to kind of relate my situations with statistics in a way where it all kind of meshed together so that people can see that, hey, we all deal with something in life, and it's not just me. But overall, I just wanted to come from a man's perspective and just to kind of show people, man, that everything, like you said, doesn't always have to be muddy and messy, and everybody doesn't always have to be angry. You don't always have to leave your kids behind. You don't always have to just be mad at the world. And I also wanted to show in the book, man, where we could kind of avoid these breakups and these divorces. You know what I mean? Just think about it. When you first get into a relationship, what's your biggest argument when you first get into a relationship?
What you gonna eat?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of them. Some people say it depends on the situation, because with the elements, because if you have kids, some people argue about don't tell my child what to do.
But
you're not going to discipline my child.
But I'm talking about when everything is fresh and you're super in love. What's your biggest argument? No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first.
That's not my argument.
No, you hang up first, right? So because nobody wants to.
No, that's not my argument.
Be apart from me, but even in your younger days, though, right? Because nobody wants to be apart from each other. We're so excited.
Nobody did that. No. Okay, I remember. No, well, okay, I'll say this. So, my high school sweetheart. Anyway, no comment. I don't like to give him no play. But anyway, so, he was like he didn't like getting off the phone And so he would like fall asleep. We would fall asleep on the phone.
See, there it is.
Because it was never argument. It was never
but
argument,
I'm saying
though.
nobody, but he never wanted to get off. You never wanted to get off.
And for those
right?
watching, y'all better not say his name.
So you never wanted to get off, and he never wanted to get off, right? So, and what's up, D Silva? So, so again, never wanted to be apart in the beginning. Everybody always wanted to be together, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens is, in some way, we tend to lose that, right?
Yeah.
We tend that newness wear off. Now it's I'm tired of this nigga. I'm tired of that chick. You know what I mean? So the thing is, I also wrapped it up where we could, you know, I wanted to share with people how they can keep everything fresh, mm-hmm. how they can, you know, keep their love, you know, going, man, flowing for each other. And instead of at some point, you know, losing the emotions behind it and just going through the motion, how we can remain emotionally charged, emotionally intimate, where we can keep this thing going in a way, man, where we're not tired of each other, where, you know, although we may have those points where you may have to go over there and breathe, I may have to go over there and breathe, at the end of the day, we're still connected, right? So I wanted to cover those areas as well, man. Even things from dating each other. Don't never stop dating each other.
That's true.
I mean, don't never stop rubbing her feet. Don't never stop rubbing her. Just like, you know, it's funny, yeah. But these are little components, man, that matter. You know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. Because we always start off with doing all these things. Then after a while, these things become I'm not rubbing your feet. Or I'm not, like, why though? You know? So if you say you still love me and you're in love with me like you did in the beginning, why the attitude shift? So sometimes we have to check these things, right? And sometimes we got to hold each other accountable. Hey, listen, guess what? You say what you want, but I remember when you told me that you'll always love me. Mm-hmm. I remember when you told me that no matter what, I would always do this for you. I will always be here for you. So where are we going wrong that all of a sudden now everything is a problem? So let's sit down. Let's regroup. Sometimes you got to revisit things. You got to have these conversations. You got to go back to the blueprint, revisit it so that you can start, you know, rebuilding. People say we always get these sayings, man, and we grew up with them and we ride with them. People say, mm-hmm. Oh, people grow apart. That's bull. You allow it to fall apart. You don't grow apart. You allow it to fall apart. And because, like you say, we lose that empathy, right? And that sympathy for one another, right? So now somebody is feeling like they're being neglected emotionally, right? So we didn't grow apart. It fell apart because you stopped tapping into my emotions. You stopped caring. You stopped wondering how my day went, you know? So that's what happens in these relationships. So please stop using that line about, oh, we grew apart. No, we didn't grow apart. It fell apart. Because here's the deal. If you continue to love someone mm-hmm. the way that you start out loving them, mm-hmm. there's no way you can lose that.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
There's no way you can lose that.
It depends.
You know why you can't lose it? Because again, the line of communication along with understanding the communication never dies. So
some people just want to leave, though. That's the thing. Some people just want to leave.
That's not about them growing apart. Again, that goes back to the beginning of this interview or this conversation mm-hmm. you and I are having. It's mm-hmm. the selfishness in some people. Some people are selfish. So
no, but what if somebody tell you up front they don't want to be with you? They were up front with you. They did not want to be with you. And they were being nice, like very kind and telling you, yo, I don't want to be with you. I like you as a friend. I don't want to be with you.
Respect it and move on.
So I dated somebody that did not want to, like, there's like, no, you know, I love you. And I'm just like, I don't want to be with you no more. Like, I mean, you good as a friend. We could be friends, but I'm never marrying you. We never walking down that aisle. You a good person. And we cool as friends to this day. But I was just like, somebody's like, did you really tell? I said, yeah, I told them ahead of time. And this is no disrespect to that person, but they finally got it. But it was just like,
we've been there. I've been there before, and for me though, I appreciate the honesty and the direct. You know what I mean? Because my thing is, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, and I'm gonna be straight with you, because I don't need you calling me later saying, "So what's up?" So if I tell you right initially up front how it's going down, then we don't have to have that back end conversation. So no, I appreciate that. So if somebody does that, then again, it's just not a feeling. Again, like you say though, you may love them, but you
you're
didn't
not
have
in love with them.
Not only that, you didn't have a love with them. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you guys shared a love with one another, and my sister is in here, she said it, when we grow, our love must grow with us. So that's where you guys have a love together. So a lot of times people are like, I love you too. Or they be like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. What does that mean? I'm not in love. You just told me you love. What do you mean? Yeah. No, it's just that we don't have a common love together. So that's why we can't, do things to allow it to grow. You have a certain type of love for a person, and that person have a certain type of love for you, but y'all don't have a love as a unit, So it's tough for that to, so yeah, it's definitely a difference. It's a difference.
I definitely get it. So in the process itself, did you look at anybody's like different writing styles, or did you develop your own writing style? I mean, did you know, in I guess like in hindsight, where you wanted to go in terms of the style?
I didn't want to copy no one else's style or what they wrote, because again, this was my journey, this was my transition. So I wanted everything about it to be authentic. I wanted it to come from me in every way. So did I look at formats or how to format an actual book? I did, because I never knew how to format a book. So even on down to novels are written a certain way, formatted a certain way, certain, scary books are written in a certain format. So I definitely looked at the genre and the way the books are formatted, because I definitely wanted to be in line and in tune with, whatever the necessary pieces needed to be. So when I presented the book, that, it was professional. So I did do that. But as far as the writing style, no, I just wanted to I wanted people to hear me when they read it. So the same way I speak is the same way it was written. So
that's a good thing, because sometimes when you read a book, you get bored. Like, oh, this is boring, because it's not in a way that you want to hear it. And then some people, they write it the way, they write it in plain language where it's easy for people to understand. And some people, they write in a way where, okay, I'm not a rocket scientist, I'm not going to understand this. Yeah.
Nah. I'm not a rocket scientist, so I'm not trying to, I articulate. I've always been that person, and I've always, approach things differently. But no, I'm not writing it in a way where, because I wanted, first of all, I wrote it with my brothers in mind. I wanted the men to be able to pick this up, because we're not known for reading. So I wanted them to pick it up and it kind of be an easy read for them. So that was my go-to, my target in terms of me writing it, because I had the men in mind, and I wanted them to be able to pick this book up and say, wow, that was pretty cool. I like what I read here. And
So in terms of, and that's a good direction to go about that. So in terms of the mentoring, because I know you won some awards or whatnot. So the one with Alpha Phi Alpha, and how did that happen?
Well, that was this vocal competition that they did in the city of Patterson, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. They did it. It's called the Black and Gold Idol. So I have ties with music. I used to do tour management and things of that nature for, past groups. So when I went to one of the shows, the former member of Riff, I know Mr. Skip Del Van Rensselaer, asked me to one day come back and be a guest judge. So I said, sure, because he knew I was into music. So I came back and I was a guest judge, and he was kind of like excited about the way, you know, the judging thing went, and people were kind of excited about it. It was, oh man, I love his angle. I love the way he come, you know. So he asked me would I be a permanent judge on the set, and which I did. So while doing that, I I really stepped up and stepped in to help kids develop different things. So I didn't just show up on a day where the competition took place. I kind of made myself accessible to these young people. So if they wanted to share with me, whether it was music or whether it was something personal, I just, you know, opened myself up where I could share with them and help them, you know, to achieve some of their goals that they set forth. So in that particular process, in that process, Skip was like, he noticed what was going on, and he noticed how the kids and the parents were like, wow, this guy is really, you know, he's really made a difference and an impact. So that's how that particular award came about.
Oh, that's awesome. Like a lot of people, like literally, they don't get those type of things. So, you know, that's awesome.
Well, the award means nothing. It's the positive
Mhm.
influence and the positive impact that I have on the younger people that means the world to me, because even during these things, I always had my kids with me so that they can see these different, you know, acts of kindness so that they can grow up and become those individuals as well. So I don't really trip about the award. It's just knowing that when I see these young people now that have graduated from college, that now have children, you know, of their own, and they see me and they still feel the same way about me that they did back then, is, you know, that's rewarding enough for me.
Yes, definitely. That's awesome. So, how has the COVID affected your outreach during, I mean, in terms of the mentoring?
It hasn't. It actually I actually kind of enhanced it, because people are going through some things, man, and not everybody, like we discussed, not everybody knows how to navigate emotionally, man, through different situations. So they need that. And so people knowing who I am, they would definitely DM me and, you know, ask certain advice for certain situations or how to get through certain situations.
Mhm.
And I'm not perfect. I don't know it all, because sometimes I need to reach out to people as well. But I've been able to, you know, share with people honestly, openly, and honestly. I never want to tell anyone anything that's going to hurt them in the long run. So I just always try to be as honest as possible, so that, you know, although it may sting when I tell it to you, at the end of the day, you'll be able to avoid certain things from happening because of the honesty. So I'm transparent when it comes down to, you know, helping people. So it definitely hasn't affected it by any stretch of the imagination. This definitely has opened more avenues up for mentoring and helping people, you know, cope with and get through, you know, different situations.
And that's awesome. So, where can I know we can find you on Facebook? Is you have a Facebook page?
I
I
have
know you got
Facebook.
IG.
I got
IG.
I got IG, Little Pie McElveen. I have
Yep.
Facebook, Little
Yep.
Pie McElveen. I'm not running from anyone, so yes, I use my names. So so yeah, it's Little Pie McElveen on Facebook, Little Pie McElveen on Instagram as well.
Yep.
And I also have a website where you can see the different services that I
Mhm.
provide in terms of tutoring and mentoring and things of that nature, relationship and personal life coaching, those types of things. So my website is www.littlepie.mcelveen.com. The same way you see it on the screen is just all together. www.littlepie.mcelveen.com. So that's where you'll learn most of the things about me. And we also have the book that's now on Amazon. You know,
Mhm.
I put up the link. The book is on Amazon, and you can possibly. I'm not sure. I got to get my website fixed. Some people have been trying to purchase the book through Amazon and haven't been able to. I mean, through my website and been having issues. So people that want an actual copy of the book, a signed copy of the book, just inbox me, and I'll send you my Cash App, and then that way I'll go ahead and sign copy it, and I'll get it out to you.
It's definitely on Amazon because I checked. So check out Amazon.
It better be there.
It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Like all the writing and getting it edited and creating the design cover for it, all of that stuff, that's been the toughest part of this book. Getting it up on Amazon, because you have to have it aligned a certain way. And I was like, man,
I heard some stories. Amazon be putting you through this. Yeah, you have to go through some stuff to get on Amazon.
Man, I said writing the book and putting it together was easier than getting it up on Amazon. So yeah, I did. But I finally got it up though. So you'll see the cover, because it has 4 pictures of me, right? Which those 4 pictures represent the different phases that I was going in through my transition. So that's what that cover was about. So you'll see it though. But please support. And I promise you, it's a good read. And I'm not just saying it because I wrote it. It's definitely a good read. And there's something in there for everyone and every situation, man. Because even if you didn't go through the same journey that I went through, just the processes alone will allow you to attack your journeys and get through them a little easier. So yeah, please pick it up. You'll love it. I promise you will.
And that's the book, everybody, for everybody who could see that.
Yes. Transition, My Journey.
Yep.
That's me.
And so in terms of publishing, did you have to cross a lot of hurdles for that?
Well, I'm a little stubborn, So in terms of publishing, I met with 4 different publishing companies, and I presented them a finished product. However, they still wanted like 60-something% on a book. So I said, no. I wrote it. I spent the money to have it edited. I spent the money to have it formatted. I created my own cover. Why am I giving you all of this money for my project? So, and again, I came up in the music business, so I understand the publishing and the numbers and the percentages. So I said, I'll just take a chance with it. I'll just put it out myself, and in hopes that, we'll reach. So I'm here for the long haul. I'm gonna grind, and I'm gonna grind it out, because I know it's a good read, and I know this book could really help some people get through some things. So I'm gonna push it as hard as I can, and I'm never gonna give up on it.
As you should. That's good. Like, I know a lot of people, I hear stories about the publishing. That's always the hurdle. Like, they have everything together, but it's always the publishing that always gives them that little
because
problem.
They're greedy, man. These people are greedy. They just want to just like sit back, right, and not contribute to anything that you had going on, and then just take all of just because they think they're entitled to it because they have this particular platform, which at the end of the day, I still have to do the same things independently that I would have to do with the publishing company. Create interviews, go on interviews, and share the story with people so that we can sell the book. So you signing with the publishing company doesn't guarantee you book sales. So why?
That's true.
So my advice to all independent writers, just remain independent. Just like my advice to all independent artists, to remain independent, own your own everything, so that when you do hit that situation where it becomes a success for you, you benefit off of it totally.
Make sure it's copyrighted, trademarked.
Trademark, copywritten.
Yep.
Listen, you can't listen. We just got finished watching the versus battle with the Isleys and Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you got In Between the Sheets that's been,
sampled so many times.
Yeah, over 140 something times. Just that one particular record. Actually, no, that's probably in today's time. But he never sold his publishing, so that man is so don't give up your money, man, because even if it doesn't pop for you right now, them residuals will look good in the end, man.
And own your masters too. Make sure you own your masters.
Own all your masters, man. So don't be an independent artist, and because someone has a little platform and tell you, oh, I can get you this amount of people to buy it, you sell your soul. Like Prince got you guys out of that. Don't go back into it. Don't go back into it.
Prince was, and then also Tina Marie, she had something too that educated people. Mariah Carey, she educated some people.
But again, Prince he set it up.
He set the tone.
He put himself out there first before anybody. Because I remember when he
changed his name because of that whole thing.
And then the album he did, he was on a world tour. That's when he was wearing them pants with his booty out, right? And in order to purchase the CD, you had to buy a concert ticket. So that's how he was doing it. And he said it, man. He said, I may not sell millions of CDs, but even if I sell 20,000, 30,000, I still make more money being independent than I will with someone else owning my stuff and selling millions of records.
Because he's with Warner Brother, I think, at one time.
Yeah, he was with Warner. Yes.
And now Warner Brothers not even, it's just Warner now.
It's just Warner Music Group.
Yeah, Warner Music Group. They just changed recently.
Yeah, but they have a bunch of labels under them.
They do. They do.
So they hustle you though, but it's cool, man. Just own your stuff, man.
What is it? The 360 contracts? Is it 360 or 180?
It's 360s. They 360. Stink, man. Now they're getting people's performance money and like. So yeah, don't do it, man. But and I often tell people, and sometimes I have this problem with me personally, man, and not totally believing in myself. So you got to really start believing in yourself and believing in your abilities, so that energy will portray
the right people,
and you can get out there and really get it. So now I'm to the point where, listen, I'm all for it. I'm all game. I'm ready to go. And we gonna fight, man. And I appreciate people like Katrina Hertz and Kick Up Your Heels Entertainment, man, for taking me on and allowing me these opportunities. You know, so I definitely appreciate her, man. She's the absolute best.
Thank you, Katrina.
She always tells me when she's like, I'm like, Katrina, you know, I'm nervous, right? Oh, you're doing fine. Like, she just has like all this confidence in the world in me. But I appreciate her totally. And again. And we have the podcast, 5 Sessions, you know.
Yes.
That's on Facebook Live every Sunday at 7 p.m. We just had our good friend Buddy Wykes from the legendary group Intro. This Sunday coming up, 7 p.m. We got Platinum Group, H-Town. They're going to be on 5 Sessions. And we just like to kick it with people, man, and celebrate, you know, our artists as well. But yeah. Just keep supporting, man, everybody that's independent, these independent podcasts, these independent artists, these independent authors. We need you, and we need to come together too.
Stick together.
Start building each other, man, so we can help each other numbers grow.
Yes.
You know, bring your people to our platform, our people to your platform, and let's just start growing one another, man. Let's start caring for one another. That's just my biggest thing. I always like to care.
I agree.
I like to care for people. I want everybody to love everybody. I don't like confrontation. I don't like hate. I don't like none of that stuff, man. I want everybody to win in life. So yeah, let's be outside of this. Let's set it up. Let's start pulling this together, man. Where we're taking care of one another, loving one another. And whatever you guys do, man, continue to be safe out there. Protect yourselves. Protect one another. Respect one another, and let's live, man. Because life is like, man, we losing a lot of people, man, at a rapid pace, man.
And so, pray for DMX.
Please pray for that brother, man. We don't know. We could all sit back and be like, oh, it was an old overdose. I thought he stopped. We don't know, man. That's a whole nother devil, man, that if you've never experienced it, you don't know what he's fighting. So that's a devil I never experienced. So I don't know what he's fighting. I'm just gonna continue to pray for him and hope he make it out. And hope that this be his out to that particular lifestyle once he makes it out, you know. Positive brother, you know, just devils and demons that he's dealing with. So we got to pray for one another, man. Let's stop always trying to Let's
To
stop
figure out
always.
what's going on with somebody. Just pray for them.
Not only that, it's not only that, we're quick to condemn. You know what I mean? Just because, because it's not us, we just that's good for him. Oh, he should have. Like, yo, you don't know. Like,
that's
stop.
so horrible. That's so horrible.
It is.
Really
but
is.
But then, when we personally go through a situation, we want everybody to have compassion and love toward us. When we just kick somebody whole back in.
Why are bad things happening to me? Look what you said about somebody. Look what you just did to somebody.
Exactly.
Somebody, and I will not. Somebody I used to date. They're like, oh, I want to be married. Have you thought about getting married? I wouldn't marry you, so don't even come this way with that. But like, and I'm like, do you not know what you did to me though? Did you not know what you did to somebody? But you want to, I said, wow. And then they wonder why they don't never have nobody. Why don't never work? Because until you have faced you've done right by other people and you apologize, everything you touch is going to be messed up.
Yeah. But you know what, D? I often say this too, right? When you're close to someone, and you don't condemn certain behaviors, right? That means you're complicit, right? So we're so scared to hold our friends, our family accountable, right? And we just become complicit. So we're a part of that.
And enabling bad behavior.
So listen, man, we can set the record straight without being disrespectful, without being rude, in a loving way. But let's start, man. Let's start holding each other accountable, man, for our ways, man, our behaviors. You know, please. Again, though, it's just all about love. Everything for me and everybody, it's just all about love. I like to be happy. I like to smile. I'm a jokester. All that stuff. So yeah, let's continue to love one another. The summer is heating up outside. People are taking their vaccines. Not everybody's taking their vaccines. I'm one of those that choose not to. At this particular time, I just nothing, no conspiracy theorists or nothing like that, nothing negative. I'm just not a needle guy.
Gotcha.
And I'm an educator, and I know I'm gonna have to go back into the buildings eventually. But until then, protect yourselves, protect your space, wear your mask, and just, man,
eat healthy, do what you need to do, drink water, get your black seed oil, get your elderberry, all of that, lemon water, and also stop competing with people. Be your own competition.
Listen, man.
Because people, they love to be in competition with people. I ain't never seen nothing like it in my life. Like, stop. You supposed to let it motivate you, not get you down.
I get me right, man. My biggest motivation is me competing with me being a better me than I was a moment ago. So that's my biggest competition. You know what I mean? As far as everybody else,
who cares?
Y'all good, man. Your life is your life. I can't compete with your life. I just got to be a better me than what I was a moment ago. So, and I have people that that rely on me to be that. My kids, they rely on me to be that. My ladies, because they rely on me to be that. Like I'm never that 40-something-year-old man that's walking around trying to be cool with my pants sagging so I can blend in or fit. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because I have to set certain standards as well. So
Gotcha.
We're good though. We're good. But again, though, I thank you so very much
for
allowing me this opportunity to share with these beautiful people on today, though. Thank you so very much.
You're so welcome, and thank you for coming on as a special guest. And so thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And the next guest, April 17th, is Miss Shirley Jones of the Jones Girls.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Yeah. And listen, I tell you one thing. You have the best situation in the world with Mama Cooper. She supports her baby, man, 100%. And that's such.
My dad watches too. He's not technology savvy.
Got to get him right. I had to do that with my dad too.
He watches.
Moms and pops, listen, that's like the best supporting cast you could ever have, man. And listen, continue to support your daughter.
Thank you.
That love means everything. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
you. To my family members that watch, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, and to all my people
Friends,
that
all of
came in
that.
too.
Thank you, family.
My sister, Elise Levine came in. Thank you. My lady Key, she came in. My partner Danielle Silva from Vibe Sessions. She's the producer of the show. You know, she keeps me and Nitty Green in line because you know we don't always know, and sometimes we kind of step out of line sometimes. But she keeps us straight. She keeps us straight. You know, we don't know no better.
I'm watching y'all. Yeah, I was watching the one. What was the one episode when y'all were talking about the Netflix thing with someone or whatnot, and I was just like.
Oh yeah, no question. Listen,
I get it.
We're gonna keep it 100. Yeah, we're gonna keep it 100. Yeah. But still, sometimes though, she really got to reel me in though, because I just keep it to 100 from time to time. But yeah, she keeps us good though, man. And I appreciate it though. I give her a hard time from time to time, but we appreciate it though.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you though.
Well, thank you everybody, and you have a great evening, and everybody stay safe.
Go get that book.
And go grab the book. And also, I'm getting vaccinated on Thursday. I'm getting Pfizer.
Good luck.
So yeah, I'm getting it because I'm trying to. I need to travel. Yeah.
Well, I'm traveling, right? I'm still going to travel, but I'm that person anyway. I've always been a germophobic, right? Like,
me too.
I'm that person when I go to restaurants, I gotta wipe everything down. I need my glass of hot water. So I've always been that dude, and I've never liked people near me anyway. And it's strange because
that's so annoying when people do that.
It's crazy because I've been in the industry for years. So my family used to ask me like, how do you even cope? But so yeah, just stay away from me. It's cool. I'm gonna wear my mask, but just stay away from me. I don't like people close.
I don't like people all close to me like that either. People get so mad about it, but it's like it's energies.
No.
I don't like everybody energy.
You're my personal space.
Yeah, it's like respect.
And, and I don't know you personally, so roll out. Like So
people get so offended when you like, can you please give me 15 feet? Yeah. Like
I don't.
It's like, come on now. It's common courtessy.
Yeah. Honestly,
like
I don't care.
Respect that.
I don't care if you get offended because I ask you to move away from me.
Yeah.
That's
you. I agree.
You hold on to that, but I'm planning. Yeah, we're going to Vegas in June. So but I'm gonna be safe. We're gonna be safe, and we're gonna do the right things. And we're gonna make sure we get back safe. We're good though.
Well, stay tuned and watch on Sunday Vibe Sessions. The legendary H-Town will be in the building.
Yeah.
On Sunday. Is it at 3 p.m.?
Nope. 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time.
Vibe Sessions. Myself, my brother, Mike Nitty Green Best. You guys all know him. Lean on Me, Riff.
I know who he is.
He has solo projects. I know. So you guys know him. So me and my brother, we definitely we're on there. We show out some nights we just have fun. And Dee come on there sometimes too, and we fight with her. But come on, man, it's a fun show. It is. It's a fun show.
It is.
Great segments. Come hang out with Vibe Sessions. And go buy that book.
Go buy the book. Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. Go get that book. Yes.
The Transition, My Journey. There we go.
And listen, you can't miss it because it has this face on it 4 times.
That's true.
4 times.
Well, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Y'all have a great night. Again, April 17th at 3 p.m. Miss Shirley Jones of the Jones Girls will be on. So check that out. Thank you. Good night.